Let's check out the sample panel. It's this area up here in the top left, and it changes depending on what you have selected. So if I go and choose a sample within my map, you'll see we get fewer options, and these parameters or these options change things on a per sample level depending on what you have selected in the map. However, if I choose a drum pad, you'll see we get more options. So these shape and sculpt the sound of the sample within that particular pad. We have simple mode, which is what we're looking at, and advanced mode, which I'll get into a little bit later. First, let's check out what the options do on the per sample level. So let's choose something within the map. There we go. Now the first simple one is show in map. So if I click this, it's going to center it in the middle of the map. If I zoom into the map and click on it again, we zoom across and it will show us where it is. We have the show in Explorer or show on computer button. If I click on this, it will open up the Explorer and show me exactly where on my computer the sample is located. We have the map volume. This is the overall volume of the map. So if I bring this down, everything's kind of quiet, but we can boost everything. And we can go extremely loud. I'll double click this to reset it to default. We have remove. This will remove the sample completely from the map, and this can't be undone, so be careful. We have favorites, so you can choose a sample and go, I like that one, tick favorite, and then when we toggle the show favorites button up here in the top right of the map, it's only going to show us samples, or it's going to highlight the samples that we've chosen as our favorites. We have a drag, so if you want to get this sample onto your computer or inside your DAW, you can click on it and then you can drag it from here. So you can drag this icon to anywhere you want that sample to go. And we have the external out. I'll cover this very shortly. Now let's check out some of the drum pad options. I'm going to start playing this sequence. So the very basic ones is we have solo. This will solo just this pad. It will only play this particular pad. We can choose mute. It will mute that pad, so it won't play it at all. Again, we have the show in map button. This will zoom in. And if I zoom in and click on it again, it's going to center it for us and show us exactly where the sample contained in that pad is on the map. When I click on the Show in Explorer button here, it's actually going to show us the drum kit file. So this is the Atlas 2 drum kit file that contains all the information within the drum kit. Again, we have the favorite button here. Now let's talk about what these dials do. I'm going to solo this sample here. The very first one is the gain. So this is the gain of this particular sample. If I go to another sample, you'll see it changes. So you can change the gain on a per pad basis. We have pan to the left and to the right. If I double click, it goes back to default. We have a shape, which is a 2-part envelope dial. So if I bring it to the left, it starts adding a release envelope. So it kind of cuts the sample short, or you specify how long it takes to fade away. We can also change the curve, so we can change it to a more linear shape, or we can go into the inverse. If we bring this shape dial to the right, we start getting an attack envelope. So this is going to fade the sample in. It's going to have a bit of silence at the start and then gradually bring it in. And we can make this linear and inverse as well. Let's turn that off. We have a filter. What I'm going to do here is add in a bunch of notes just so we have more content. Now the filter is a 2-part dial as well. If I bring it to the left, we get a low pass filter. You can hear it's cutting out all the high frequencies. But if we go to the right, we cut out all the low frequencies. So this is a high pass filter. We have resonance, so this will accentuate or amplify the cutoff point, giving it a bit more of a prominent sound. And we can go quite high with this. Let's bring that down, double click. We have a pitch, so if your sample isn't sounding in pitch with the rest of your samples, you can use this to tune it by semitones. We can go up, and we can go down, all the way to 12 semitones, which is an octave. And if you find your sample is just slightly out of tune with everything else, you can use the tune dial here. This will detune it in sense, so it's just a bit of a nudge in pitch. A few other things to mention is you can lock all of the parameters with this button here. So if I change a bunch of these parameters like so, and I click on New Kit, you'll see that it resets them back to their default value. However, if I change some now and click on the lock, when I click on New Kit, it's going to update the sample, but it's going to retain the parameter information. Another interesting thing you can do is select multiple drum pads like so, and then bulk change a parameter for all of those pads. So if I move the gain now, all of the pads are going to change their gain. You'll see it's collected all of the parameter values and given us a range rather than a static value. So it's actually going to shift the range of all of the parameters collectively.